Departures. My name is Daniel Vallis and welcome to our channel. In our last video, we reviewed a lot of the signs that we've been shown over the past year and 7 months. And I was reminded that one sign I forgot was actually with the very first sign that we saw on June 30th, and that was the American blood moon. That happened the same day as the Venus and Jupiter conjunction, the Star Bethlehem reminder. So on the very first day that the first sign appeared, there's another celestial event, which I nicknamed the American blood moon. There's no name for it, but that's just how the moon appeared on that day. And this is a picture that I took that night while I was out looking for the Star Bethlehem event, trying to take a picture of that. But the moon actually caught my attention more than the Star Bethlehem did. And that was a result from wildfires up in Canada and Alaska that came down. And a lot of the articles at that time were talking about how it came into the central United States and as far south as southern Missouri. The upper level winds carrying that smoke. So the smoke was very high up in the atmosphere, but it affected how the sun and the moon looked. And there was a lot of news coverage about it and the weather. A lot of people asking questions about why the moon was a funny color all of a sudden. That was because of the smoke that was coming down. Different people took pictures. This one was very similar to the one I took. And then they also remarked how it affected how the sun appeared during the day as well in certain areas. So that caught a lot of people's attention, particularly mainly here in America, but a lot of the news articles are pointing out how people looking for the one would probably see the moon a weird color too as well. So notable celestial events that the news was calling attention to on the exact same day. We should always remember the major event that started our journey. All the news is talking about this astronomical event. You could see it from many places. A lot of people remarked about it. And so these events that hadn't happened in 2,000 years that kick-started the major bulk of the sign, the whole world knows about it. Caught a lot of people's attention. And what have we done with that information? Well, right now we find ourselves on the wise men's journey, coming up on the biblical last event recorded with their wise men's journey, when the star stood still. And as I keep emphasizing, we do not know the day or hour. We don't. But we do know there are some significant things in this area that we should be looking at and considering the end of the third watch in the days ahead and the 12-month marker, which would be around the 10th, coming up 12 months since our attention was directed to it by the first Star Bethlehem and the second Star Bethlehem Echo reminders. How our journey started a year and 7 months ago, that was a significant milestone and significant pattern to 12 months. And that's coming up on the 10th as well. So there's a lot coming together in just a few hours and days that we have a lot of expectation about going to the King's house, a departure. But we do not know for sure. And so we continue to go forward in faith, resting and understanding everything that we have been shown before. And so that propels us forward and strengthens us on our journey, knowing that we have been shown so many deliberate things because God does want us to know. And He wants us to go forward in faith. And so while Jupiter is going to be at Station 1 on the 6th, there are also significant events with the wise men's story that go beyond that. So don't get necessarily focused on these 6, because there's really, this whole area is equally important. All this time frame is equally important, associated with meeting the king and also a time of departure. Matthew 2:9. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of God in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way. And when they were departed, behold, the angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of the Lord by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son. So take note that the story continues after the wise men saw the star. That was quickly followed up by them meeting the king and presenting him gifts. But then also quickly 2 departures took place. The wise men departed, and then Joseph and Mary and the young child departed also. So 2 departures very quickly after the wise men saw the star. And it's actually all part of the story, because right after this, verse 16, then Herod, when he saw that he was mocked of the wise men, was exceeding wroth, and sent forth and slew all the children that were in Bethlehem, and in all the coasts thereof from 2 years old and under, according to the time which he had diligently inquired of the wise men. So this is one continuous story here we have to keep in mind. And understanding verse 16 helps us understand the time frame of the events before that. We talked about what the wise men saw from Jerusalem and their perspective and everything. But that reminds us that Jerusalem was only 6.2 miles away from Bethlehem. It was not very far away at all. And so we got to keep that in mind. Herod was expecting to hear back from the wise men who went to Bethlehem. And they're just up the road from Jerusalem. They're not that far. And so the wise men, you got to remember, they're in a large caravan. They're not just 3 single people by themselves. They've been on a long road trip. They don't have credit cards. You got to take your money with you. They're going to be on a road trip for months, there and back. And so they have people to help guard their money and supplies and all that stuff. It was a notable event when they rode into Jerusalem, remember. It got everybody's attention. And so this was no small group of people. This was a big group of people. And it would be noticed when they left. Just a rumor mill and through the grapevine, everybody would be talking about these people from the east and when they left. And so the events that followed after when the wise men saw the star over Bethlehem was probably only 24 to 48 hours, because very quickly Herod figured out that the wise men left. And since they're so close, the rumor mill and just the news and the grapevine, he'd be able to find out real quickly that the wise men were going a different way. And apparently Joseph and them, they departed right after. And the Bible even tells us they departed at night. So 2 quick back-to-back departures shortly after the wise men saw the star standing. And so we just got to keep this in mind when we look at the time frame of events for the days ahead. Don't get locked on to necessarily the 6th or any day really. Just, we're going to go forward one day at a time, understanding that there are significant events that happened in just the hours after the star stood still too as well. And both of those events are connected with departures. And that is what we are expecting too. So we are going to go forward one day at a time with high expectation, understanding this is part of the story. And we've been shown so much, we have great expectation of other departures in the days ahead as well. All of these days are equally important. We do not know the day or hour, but we do know there is a lot of symbolism and messaging and the celestial signs that we see and what we have seen coming together here, and how it's ending, what is connected to this celestial event and what quickly follows that rehearsal is very important and has caught our attention. When we look back out at the main timeline, and this is updated on the Google Drive too as well, we see we're coming up to the Bethlehem events, but it's also at the same time as the sign of Jonas possibly starting. We can't say it is the Jonas sign, but it is a definite strong fit if there ever was a sign for the sign of Jonas. Right at this time that commemorations in that area of the world are going on. That's going on in this right time frame of departure. A sign about the great fish and the mouth of the great fish happening in just the days, but starting right when Jupiter reaches station 1. This should catch our attention. There's a lot going on right now, and already the Sun is in Capricornus, reminding us of the atonement goat. But the possible sign of Jonas, this has definitely caught our attention, particularly because it is a sign for the hypocrites. And we should not be a hypocrite. We should look back at what we have been shown, and we should act on what we have been shown. We should live wisely, expecting a departure. We don't know the future, but everything we have shown so far, we know the Lord has shown us, and He has given us insight, and He is giving us understanding for a reason. He wants us to diligently seek Him, and He wants us to diligently purify and prepare our hearts with the expectation of meeting Him. We have so many reminders. We have particularly the reminder of Esther in her 12 months, which were totally for purification and preparation. We have an expectation of departure in the days ahead. Are we making ourselves ready? Are we living as though this world is not our home? There are many events, particularly in the days and hours ahead, that are of distraction, of where the world is eating and drinking, life going on as normal, not paying attention to the signs, not living in light of what the world has been shown, even in mainstream news. There is a lot we do not know, but we do know we are running out of time, prophetically, and the celestial signs and so many things telling us we are running out of time, and we should expect our redemption to be even at the doors. Matthew 25, 6-7. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh! Go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. The parable of the virgins is about those who were expecting the bridegroom. They were expecting to depart and go with the bridegroom. And they got the call, they got the signal at midnight, when it was late, that he was coming. He wasn't there yet, but he was just over the hill. And that they needed to prepare themselves. They needed to rise up, and they needed to go out to meet him halfway. This is an example for us too. We have seen so many celestial signs telling us the King is coming, the King is coming, coming to pick up his bride. What are we doing? Are we rising up? Are we trimming our lamps? Are we shining bright? The hour is very late, but we have heard the call, the bridegroom cometh. Go ye out to meet him. So let us rise up, and let us trim our lamps, and let us go forward, in faith, out to meet our Lord, out to meet our Redeemer, and serving Jesus Christ first and highest above all else. Maranatha.